Hey guys, it is Kristen with Living Well Essentially, and I'm here today with my youngest, Christopher, and we are going to cook for you guys a gluten-free and egg and dairy protein-free spaghetti. This will be a good time to teach him how to cook spaghetti from scratch and show you guys how you can change just a few ingredients and make it healthier. So he's going to start with making the meatballs. We use a organic ground beef. It's grass-fed. It's 85% lean and 15% fat. You can get it at Sam's. And so what I like about this is that we're probably only going to use 2 of the squares, and then the third one I'm going to freeze. I don't know if you can see, but I actually cover my counter surfaces with all those whole food bags that I get in abundance because I do a lot of shopping at Whole Foods. So those all the paper bags, I will cut them and use them to line my countertops to catch things like meat juices and seeds from vegetables or fruits that I am cutting and dicing during meal prep. It just makes cleanup a little easier. So real simple ingredients is your salt, pepper, and basil. You want to use ground basil for this. In there and knead it like dough and mix all the ingredients together. This is weird. Like roll them into 2-inch meatballs. So he's just going to be rolling meatballs in the 1.5 to 2-inch size and placing them on the cookie sheet. And so there's a couple of things that you can do when you prepare the meatballs. You can either bake them in the oven at 350 for just a few minutes to brown them, but I do it the way the Italians do, and I just put the raw meatballs into the boiling sauce, and you'll see that in a little bit, and they cook just fine like that. You do have to cook your sauce longer when you do it that way though. So usually I will cook it for an hour and a half to 2 hours. No, I don't put them in the oven. I just drop them in raw. All right, so we're gonna turn on our fire to a medium-high heat. Watch out, dude. Gonna burn your elbow. So we're gonna pour in some olive oil. Again, I don't measure anything. I just pour in enough to kind of let it spread and start coating the bottom of the pan. You want to let them sit just for a second on the bottom and let them start heating up because you want to make sure that they start to saute.
Bring them to the middle?
Yeah, bring them to the middle of the fire. All right, so the onions are starting to get a little translucent, and we're going to cook them for only about a minute more. And once we do that, we're going to add in the diced tomatoes. All right.
Tomatoes?
Tomatoes. So now we're going to pour in the tomatoes. And this is about 3 pounds of diced Roma tomatoes. And you don't have to dice them small because they're gonna reduce themselves, they're gonna cook down. All right, so let them set and start sizzling and sauteing. While they're doing that, we're gonna add a splash of red wine vinegar. It's the cooking red wine. You definitely can use real wine if you like. But if you use a wine or a cooking wine, you want to make sure that there's no added preservatives or sulfates in it. We're going to add a little bit of salt. We're going to do some pepper. So I don't know if you can see that, but it's starting to reduce and have a little more liquid in there. And when it starts to do that, that's a good time to add your tomato paste. Gluten-free and egg-free meatballs. And basically, all we did was we mixed the lean ground meat, the grass-fed ground meat, with salt, pepper, and basil, and that's it. The meatballs will hold together without the egg and the breadcrumbs. And I like to do it the old-fashioned way, and I cook my meatballs directly in my sauce. If you don't like that method, you can put them in the oven on 350 for a couple of minutes and just let them lightly brown. If you do drop in the meatballs raw into the sauce, you want to make sure you cook your sauce for about an hour and a half to 2 hours to make sure that the meat is cooked. That is it. We're gonna let this simmer for about an hour and a half to 2 hours.